Today, I will be sharing to you a fact about every train in SCR. The game's current version is 2.1, so this video might become outdated due to updates to the game and Metro becoming an operator. All the facts I will be sharing is from the SCR wiki page, so all credits go to them and the link will be in the description. Now, let's start the video. This train only operates on 33 out of the 43 Stepford Connect routes. Same for the Class 444, these trains also run special routes. This train can run Leighton Connect only, meaning it cannot run beyond Benton to Stepford, or go into Stepford Airport. Because of this train can only operate 13 routes out of the 43 Stepford Connect routes currently in-game, the least out of every Stepford Connect train so far. Coxley bypass siding is currently the closest place that you can reach Stepford from with this train. This is the first Stepford Connect train with a 2-coach variant. It was the only such train to hold this distinction until the Class 156 and Class 170/2 were added in V2.0. This is the longest diesel multiple unit on Stepford Connect that isn't a double, totaling 4 cars. This train is similar to the Class 357, with the main differences being number of coaches, 2 to 3 per the Class 170 unit versus 4 per the Class 357 unit, and powering, diesel versus electric. Another difference being the bottom part of the front on the Class 170. The Stepford Connect Class 185 had no seats for the first 36 minutes of its release. This was the first train that requires players to own another train class first before it can be bought, in this case, the Class 331. This train was the last train on Stepford Connect to be upgraded to NGV3, being upgraded in version 2.0. It was also one of the last 2 trains in the game to be upgraded, along with the Class 319. This train was the last paper train to be added to the game. All trains introduced afterwards were next generation. These trains were quite rarely seen when they were previous generation trains, as most drivers disliked them. This train has the second highest maximum speed of all trains, tied with the Class 387 and the Class 730/1. Before the big update when the Class 700 was in service, this train was not free. This train shares its horn sound with the Class 380 in SCR, but not in real life. The Class 365 shares the same broken sounds as the Class 465, with a broken and odd accelerating and braking sound, and the same door chime and horn. Before V1.7, even though the Class 377 was similar to the Class 387 and Class 379, it had a different horn, door chimes, and there was no light on the bottom front. The horn and door sound samples were identical to those of the Class 170, Class 171 and Class 357. This train was the last legacy paper Stepford Connect train to be upgraded to next generation. This was also the last oldest non-Horton Foundry model train. It was the last ACE electric train to not have a visible pantograph. The Class 385 is one of the few trains to have a working in-cab display, alongside the Class 800, Class 801 and Class 802. This train is the second most expensive train on Stepford Connect, costing 2,500 points, just behind the Class 68 and Class 156 at 3,000 points each. It is also the only train in the game to cost 2,500 points. However, the Class 143 used to cost 2,500 points before being lowered to 1,000 points. These are the only Juniper units in SCR. This train is much cheaper compared to most Stepford Connect trains, with the exception of the free Class 357. This is the 4th train in the game to be directly introduced as NGV3, with the others being the Class 168, Class 444, Class 143 and Class 397. Currently, this train, the Class 345 and the Class 730 are the only Aventra trains in the game, as the Class 701 was removed in V1.1. When this train was meshed in V1.8, the pantograph was put in an incorrect location. It is unknown why. This also applies to the Class 720. The Class 143 is the first train where the guard's local door is a passenger door while their local seat is in the driver's cab. The second is the Class 158. The third is the Class 156. This train and the Class 166 were the last diesel trains and the last trains without an end gangway to receive a next-generation upgrade. These trains are the fastest two-coach trains, alongside the Class 195/0 and Class 170/2, in SCR. In V1.5, this train got a new livery, but still used the old waterline logo. This was fixed in V1.6. This train replaced the Class 508 in SCR. Due to this, users who bought the aforementioned train were given access to the Class 313 without any additional charge. These trains are rarely seen on the Waterline South and suburban services since Morganstown Docks and Whitney Green cannot accommodate all four coaches. The Class 379 and the Class 730/0 are the only trains on Waterline to have cab end gangways. Most Waterline starters use this train because of its low cost. Class 143 was also an option previously, but its price has been changed to 2,000 points now. Prior to version 2.1, due to coding limitations, both units of the double consist of this train uses the same unit number for both units. This train was given a transitional livery with the new AirLink logo after its second rebrand. This is one of the two AirLink trains not to have first class, the other being the Class 755. In real life, the maximum speed of the /1 variant has been increased to 110 miles per hour. It is unknown whether this change will be reflected in game. This train, along with the other Elektrostas, other than the Class 357, have been upgraded by product developer overhead wires. This is the first train in the game to be shared between AirLink and Stepford Express. It is also the only shared train that is not on Stepford Connect. This train, along with the Class 68, the upcoming Class 745, Class 756 and Class 777 are the only trains in SCR to be built by Stadler Rail. This train, the Class 800 and the Class 801 have no destination boards on the front of the train, but they do have them on the side. This train is also known as the Intercity 125, due to its maximum speed of 125 miles per hour in normal operation. This train along with the Class 221, were the last trains on Stepford Express to be meshed and rebranded. They are also the last trains on the network to receive a rebrand, carrying the old Express logo until V1.8.3. This train used a gold color in its livery, to celebrate SCR reaching 10M visits. This was replaced by the generic operator livery in V1.8.3 when it was upgraded to NGV3. The 11-car/1 variant of this train has the most number of coaches in SCR. This is the first train to be added on Stepford Express since the 10 million update in 2020, in which the Class 221 and the Class 220 were added. The difference between the Class 800 and the Class 801 is that this train can run on both electric and diesel mode, while the Class 801 is limited to electric mode. This train has the second highest class number in the game being behind the Class 802. But beating the previous train being the Class 755. And that was a fact about every train in SCR. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you don't want to, that's fine, I just hope you enjoyed this. Anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. This is one of my biggest projects yet, I've worked hard on this and it's done. Anyways, I'll see you next time.